Recuérdame. Esta canción no deje de latir, solo con tu amor yo puedo. Recuérdame. Si en tu mente vivo estoy. Recuérdame. Mis sueños yo te doy, te llevo en mi corazón y te acompañaré. Unidos en nuestra canción, contigo ahí estaré. Recuérdame. Si sola crees estar. Recuérdame. Y mi cantar te irá a abrazar. Aún en la distancia nunca vayas a olvidar que yo contigo siempre voy. Recuérdame.
Close your eyes and let the music play. Keep our love alive, I'll never fade away. If you close your eyes and let the music play, keep our love alive, I'll never fade away. If you close your eyes and let the music play, keep our love alive, I'll never fade away. Remember me, for I will soon be gone. Remember me, and let the love we have live on. And know that I'm with you the only way that I can be. So until you're in my arms again, remember me. Remember me.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Bay State Dental. Comprehensive dentistry at 14 convenient locations in Springfield, Chicopee, Longmeadow, West Springfield, Belchertown, East Longmeadow, Ludlow, Northampton, Greenfield, and Wilbraham, as well as 29 Broad Street in Westfield. Bay State Dental makes it a priority to help you achieve and maintain the healthy smile you deserve. Visit on the web at baystatedental.com.
Support for community programming on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. Visit bettsplumbing.com or 14 Coleman Avenue, Westfield. Public welcome.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Commercial Distributing Company of Westfield. Now in its third generation of family ownership, Commercial is one of the premier beverage distributors of Western Massachusetts. The Plasek family and the staff of Commercial Distributing wishes you good times throughout the year and urges you to drink responsibly. Underwriting for community radio on WSKB is brought to you in part by Rockies. Over 30 convenient locations throughout Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Connecticut, and Florida. One of the nation's largest ACE dealers. Expertise in great product selection in paint, hardware, lawn, and garden. That's Rockies. Rock solid service since 1926. On the web at rockies.com. We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646. Discussions of local politics, events, happenings, and miscellany potpourri. Ken's Den, Tuesday, 8 to 10. Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
10.5 here on the 6th day of March in the year 2018. I'm still doing that. Anno Domini. This is the den. Ken's den.
The views expressed by Ken Stompsy during his monologue are those solely of his own, not those of Westfield State University. The Radio Club are underwriters or most sane people. And now...
You know what, Pete?
What's going on, Ken?
Everyone knows I have my flight and hotel booked for Vegas.
Yes.
And some people know that I usually plan my route. And notice I said route, not route.
Yep.
Where if I need to transfer, I do it in an airport that has at least an hour between flights and has good Bloody Marys.
Okay.
You know, after flying at 30,000 feet in a pressurized tube, even bad Bloody Marys taste good. So this opens up a lot of airports. My favorite might be Baltimore, Washington, or BWI for those who fly a lot.
Mm-hmm.
There's a pub there named O'Bricky's. They rim the glass with their own seafood seasoning, and they use absolute pepper vodka. They stuff olives, celery, peppercini, and a few other things into it so you can have a snack at the same time. I found out about this place by accident when a flight I was on was delayed several hours. I don't remember much of that flight.
Kenny was delayed a couple hours, too.
Because in Maryland, the bartender can ask you if you want a double.
No.
I usually don't day drink. But for some reason, when I fly, that policy goes out the window. And it doesn't matter what time of day either. I've enjoyed a Bloody Mary as early as 8 a.m.
What? Oh, well, that's, yeah.
Yeah, he's not driving.
No, after.
Having said all this, I have an issue.
Uh-oh.
This past week, I just reserved my room and secured my flight for Dallas in April.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the flights back were sold out already.
Uh-oh.
There was still one going out at the butt crack of dawn. What time do I have to be at the airport for? 4 a.m.
Ah.
I'm getting old. I don't think I can swing a Bloody Mary at 5 in the morning.
I need to not be open.
In this
I
case,
know.
it would qualify as hair of the dog.
Oops.
Because it is right after the big final night party at the conference.
Oh, double oops.
Last year, we had a private Steven Tyler concert.
Oh, I remember.
This year, or the year before that, they let us loose in a closed Epcot Center, and there's always an open bar.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's planned for this year, but I know I will likely have 2 hours of sleep between getting back to the resort and leaving for the airport. It is possible I won't need that Bloody Mary in order to sleep on the flight back.
Mm-hmm.
I know, I sound like a lush, but unless I'm at an airport or hanging out in Vegas, I really don't consume much alcohol like I did years back. A bottle of wine at home does not count. I don't even really go out. Many times after downtown concerts or events, people have said, "Hey, Ken, want to go to the tavern?" Or, "Hey, Ken, want to go to the hangar?" I typically say no, and I go home.
Yeah, you're a spoiled sport.
But I still have a weakness for airport Bloody Marys and Vegas slushy drinks, but that's another show altogether.
It has been, yes.
And come on, let's get serious here for a minute. These things are healthy.
Right.
The mix has either tomato or veggie juice in it. Good source of vitamins and minerals. And tomatoes have antioxidants in them. And they are part of one of the food groups. The olives have heart-healthy oils in them. And vodka is made from grains. And grains are good for you. Did I just spin around quicker than a politician losing a debate?
That's a pivot right there.
Yeah. Well, I had politicians in here this morning, and there will be no spinning. Let's pay our bills. We'll be back right after this.
Wasted days and wasted nights. I have left for you behind. For you don't belong to me. Your heart belongs to someone else. Why should I keep loving you when I know that you're not true? And why should I call your name when you're the blame for making me blue? Don't you remember the day that you went away and left me? I was so lonely, prayed for you only, my love. Why should I keep loving you when I know that you're not true? And why should I call your name when you're the blame for making me blue? Why should I keep loving you when I know that you're not true? And why should I call your name when you're the blame for making me blue?
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Comcast and Xfinity.com. With the Xfinity Double Play and Xfinity Triple Play, you can choose to bundle Comcast services for a great value. Experience Xfinity TV, Internet, home phone, and home security services. Explore all that Xfinity has to offer in the Westfield area on the web at Xfinity.com. Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Wally Computer Associates, one of the largest technology providers in North America. Headquartered in Southwick, Wally provides all of the products and services that you'd expect from a world-class technology partner to schools, colleges, businesses, as well as state and local governments and agencies. Wally Computer Associates, meeting all of your technology needs. On the web at WCA.com.
Underwriting for community broadcasting on WSKB is provided by the Press Room, a community coffee and snack cafe right in the heart of Westfield's Gaslight District. The news of the day always includes a steaming cup of coffee or tea, donuts, bagels, pastry, and other delectable treats at the Press Room. Open weekdays 7 to 5, Saturdays and Sundays 7 to noon. The Press Room, 62 School Street, Westfield.
We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646.
Discussions of local politics, events, happenings, and miscellany potpourri. That's what you'll find on Ken's Den, Tuesdays from 8 till 10.
Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
New partner is this fall. A new hard-hitting police drama is coming to Friday night. He was a well-to-do cop transferred to a troubled precinct downtown. His new partner is a space traveler with a passion for justice. It's Yuppie and the Alien.
Look, you might vaporize dissidents in Alpha Centauri, but in this precinct, we do it by the book.
I'm so terribly sorry, Captain.
Goog, I'm sorry. Don't miss this one-of-a-kind police drama. They're fighting crime the hard way in designer clothes with $250,000 sports car and a UFO.
Partner, let's go cruise in the car and look moody.
One tough downtown precinct, two outsiders doing things their way. Yuppie and the Alien on VBC.
Yuppie and the Alien coming to a screen near you.
You know that the guy the voice on that one?
Yeah, that's that guy.
Pete Guston.
Uh-huh.
He's legally blind and literally he can't read copy. He can't read. And what he does is he trained himself to have a computer read in his ear.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And
that's how he does it. It's amazing what he does.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's amazing what he does in the studio.
Very cool.
He's the voice of WEI, ESPN. He's got all kinds of contracts now.
Yeah, hundreds. He just has one of those voices like Mike.
He's getting into the movie
Rowe.
business now.
Mm-hmm.
That's the big time.
Yeah. I'd like to hit the movie business sometime.
You got Pete Guston's pipes.
Yeah.
Not even close.
And I don't have anyone's looks either, so I guess I'm just going to be stuck here in the studios at SKB.
Hey.
Like I am each and every Tuesday week. Here it is, Ken's Den. Ken Stomsky behind the microphone. And
your guests are kibutzing with Bob Plass.
And in front of the console today.
Yes, the Radio Millennium Board.
See, you said it, not me. I said console today.
That's still the Radio Millennium Board.
Kitten of the Keys, Chairman Meow, Peter Coles.
Chairman Meow, I still like that one.
Yeah, Chairman Meow is a good one. That one's never going to go away. Side chick.
I be here.
That was a longer one today. What happened?
It just seemed longer. Maybe it's because I went for the dramatic pause beforehand.
Dramatic pause. The cats have dramatic pause.
I see a picture of you on Facebook the other day with cats.
Oh, God, yes. Wasn't that awful?
Yeah, I don't know, Pete. Have you seen this?
No, I don't think I have.
I was trying to read a book and watch TV, and there were 3 of them on my chair. 3 of them.
3 out of 8?
Puts new meaning. No, I only have 5.
You are their person.
Okay, only 5.
I only have 5. Pardon?
Okay.
You are their person.
I am their person. It puts a new meaning to laptop.
The fact that 3 of them were then means they're surprisingly well-behaved cats, because I've had cats.
They were quiet. They were comfy. They were happy. Good thing the cows don't try that, though.
But
that'd be hard.
Here's the dill, Pete. Here's the dill.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
She's allergic to them.
I am.
I know that.
Yes.
That one. When you said that, and then I realized you had cats. You said that a while ago, and I was like, why?
Peter, I am allergic to. Wait, it's a trifecta. I'm allergic to cats, dogs. I have my border collie.
Yes.
And molds and mildews found on a drumroll farm.
So why?
Is there anything else out there? Anything else? Everything.
If you're an outdoors person,
where's the panel? where's Kenny's panel?
if you're an outdoors person,
yeah,
you and I probably won't get along because I have a few more than you.
Ooh.
I have the cats. I have dogs. I have dust.
Yes, but you don't have cats or dogs.
No, because I always knew they set me off. Except for a Shih Tzu, they're non-hyperallergenic. What else is there? Oh yeah, mold.
Mold, mildews, those are big ones. Dust mites, yeah.
But then ragweed, trees.
Yeah, I'm allergic to pine.
And grass.
That's a toughie.
Yeah.
That's a toughie.
After a year of allergy shots, I can mow my lawn now without wanting to die.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying the shots. I don't know how well it's going to work because I have that cough that you hear me do. And it's embarrassing. We went to that, Peter, the concert Saturday.
Yes.
Wow.
I was sitting in the upper balcony.
Okay.
On the left-hand side of the stage, so I was facing the choir.
Okay.
And I was I had to buy. I bought the top row, so it was 3 seats together. Mm-hmm. So it was me, Mom, and my girlfriend. So all 3 of us were sitting there in the last row, which was nice because those are tight seats. And when my knee started hurting, I got up and just walked around a little bit and then went back to my seat.
Well, I saw Nick Morganelli.
I know. I was looking for all you guys.
We were down in orchestra. We were down on the lower level, but
you know what the nice thing about that room is, and this is a big secret, everybody. The acoustics are so good in that room. It doesn't matter necessarily where you sit.
No, it doesn't.
And we were looking sideways right into the orchestra, so we had a view of everything. The only thing I couldn't see was percussion. That was it.
And it's a relatively small venue, so no matter where you are, the seats are good.
Yeah.
It's not like the Bushnell where you're up in East Hong Kong, but even we went to the Bushnell for the Lord of the Rings concert several years ago, and we were, I think, the last row on the top tier, and it was fine.
Yeah, we're going to.
Listening.
I'm taking the same group to On Your Feet in June. Down there, the Gloria Stefan musical story.
Oh, nice.
So the same trio, we're going to go for that show too.
Oh,
so
good.
That was a Christmas gift.
Well, this was a lot of fun.
Oh God, Kevin Rhodes is having a ball,
wasn't he? He's such a personality, such a great personality for Springfield and Westfield, and it was a fabulous way to get people into the symphony that ordinarily wouldn't go to the symphony. So what a great idea.
And my mom was funny. She goes, "You don't know Kevin Rhodes." I'm like, "I do know Kevin Rhodes. He comes in all the time, does radio shows with us."
Oh, does he?
So he was coming up the side stairs right by our seats. And I go, "Hello, Kevin." And he looks up and he just starts laughing. He goes, "Hi, Peter." My mom's like, "What? He knows your name?" I'm like, "Yes, he comes in, does the radio show all the time."
And then during intermission, Pete ran up and said, "Here's that $20 I promised you."
No, Ken.
It was only 10, Kenny. Come on. Come on. Come on.
They had some great Star Wars characters that you could take your pictures with.
They did. It was fun.
Stormtroopers.
Star Wars.
Well, they had Star Wars and Star Trek.
The guy that had the movies costume, the red, that red style costume. He was impressive. That was spot on.
Yes, he was. He looked good.
And the girl playing Data wasn't bad either.
She was cute.
She was cute.
Yeah, it was funny.
They had a costume contest. Ken.
Star Wars. I mean,
the whole first half was Star Trek.
Okay, I can live with that.
The whole first half, and then the whole second half was Star Wars.
Okay.
But it's even interesting, and I'm not that big on either one of them. I know them. I watch them. The first Star Wars movie back in the 70s, when did it come out?
78, I think.
77, 78.
Yeah.
Well, it was Denny Aikens that dragged me to it.
Yes.
And in those days, if you remember, over at the cinema, they had a separate, smaller building.
Yep.
They had the two
where
in
Raymond
one big
Flanagan
building.
was.
And then, no, it wasn't across the street yet. It was in the parking lot. There was another building in the parking lot. That was the original Cinema 2, I think, not across the street.
Okay, I know there was 2 buildings.
And the line, because that was we were just getting into the big blockbusters. We're used to this now. But back then, we weren't. And the line went all the way around the building.
Oh, yeah.
And I was so mad at
that. Was one of the first movies I went to. But then over a period of time, Star Trek started to have, or Star Wars started to have teddy bears on it, and I'm like, okay, that's it. I'm not dealing with it anymore. I'm done.
That's the way I feel. What is that one, Guardian?
When they brought those Ewok things in, that was it. They ruined it.
Guardian of the Galaxies, I thought that way, because I can't.
Well, that's intended to have some humor.
But I can't get through the raccoon talking to me.
That raccoon is awesome.
I can't do it, Ken.
I'd hang out with that raccoon.
As long as he had Bloody Marys. Or
slushy drinks.
Slushy drinks.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he does, but it was wonderful.
8:30 in the morning. Coming up after this break, councilors Beltrandi and Figy are in his house. Pete, play us out.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Westfield Bank. For more than 160 years, Westfield Bank has been an important community presence and commercial leader in the Pioneer Valley, with convenient full banking services in Westfield, West Springfield, East Longmeadow, Agawam, Feeding Hills, Springfield, Southwick, as well as Enfield and Granby, Connecticut. Visit us on the web at westfieldbank.org. We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646. Friday mornings is something different on 89.5 FM. It's JP's Talk About Town.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
Do you know who I am?
Kenny!
Surely you can't be serious. I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Who the hell is that?
Kenny!
Who is that?
Kenny!
Who the hell is that?
Kenny!
Who is that?
Kenny!
It's Kenny, the Facebook guy.
That's the fact, Jack!
Giggity, giggity, giggity.
And I played that on purpose just so I could get to 8:34 and a half.
Oh, stop.
There we are.
The master of timing.
It's the 6th day of March in the year 2018.
Hey, you finally got it right.
This is Ken's Den. I have councilors Beltrandi and Figy in his house this morning. Good morning, gentlemen.
It's a beautiful morning.
Yes.
It's a beautiful morning before the crap storm.
Well, hey, take the sun when you can get it.
Yeah, right. I'll take that today.
Absolutely.
It is still winter.
Yep.
Yeah.
Are we all set with our plow trucks and sand and everything for the storm
That's
coming
up
up?
to Dave Billups.
That's Dave Billups. That's his baby.
Come on, we all know you guys talk. So
We definitely don't. Yeah, we don't talk about potholes, but we do talk about sand. But yeah, I think they're
And
fine.
pre-treating.
Yeah, they're good.
And the plows, they all look to be okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I
And
think
all the
they've-
vendors are ready.
I think they didn't. The DPW win an award for their snow operations this year.
They won an award
coordination
about
and
how they
everything?
coordinate with
Yeah.
the vendors and the other guys and keeping track of what streets have been plowed and haven't. They did win an award for that, which is
how many
impressive.
years now have they been using the GPS system to
This is the
do that?
second year.
Second year, yeah. Yeah.
And it's in the radio. So what they were telling me is kind of cool. If the contractor doesn't turn their radio on, then they don't get paid.
Right.
There you go.
That's literally how it goes, because if they don't pop up on the screen, they're not, as far as DPW is concerned,
They never went out.
They could be plowing that street. They're not there.
But, give credit where credit is due. They've done a good job this year. I haven't
Yeah.
seen many complaints about the plowing aspect of it.
Right.
Those guys work hard. I plowed for the city for almost 14 years. And it's a thankless job. I mean, no matter what you do, you always miss somebody. There's
Yep.
always a complaint.
Yep.
There's a snow pile that somebody doesn't like in front of their yard. So it's a tough job to do. And when you're out in the middle of the night, it's rough.
I've done it before.
And there's going to be a lot of plowing in the middle of the night with this one, I would say.
That's all night.
Well,
because that's going to be the worst of the snowstorm.
Yeah, and unfortunately, this is going to be a wet, heavy snow. So this is something you got to keep up with. You can't. Let
It's
it
a
stack
stinker
up.
to plow.
Yeah, you just got to keep on it. So there's going to be a lot of truck hours. A lot of work continuously with this.
And you just can't say to yourself, okay, I'll go out and do my driveway once, and then I'll just clear out the end of my driveway once the plow goes through, because that'll be a bit difficult to do with this one.
I'm shoveling before I go to bed, when I wake up.
That's what you
It's going to have to
do.
a couple times tomorrow, yeah.
That's a 2 or 3 time to get out. So
Because it's going to start slow.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll probably get through to tomorrow pretty much okay until the afternoon drive.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's going to snow like you just sit in your house and watch it.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we'll see what happens on Thursday morning, because who knows?
Get the hot chocolate out and put the movie Frozen on, and life will be good.
Oh, I can't see Frozen again.
If you get to the grocery store in about an hour and a half, the shelves will be empty. So
and why is that every single time?
They all panic for 24 hours, so you got to have your bread and milk.
Yeah.
Does everybody make French toast or something whenever it snows?
I think they dry and feed the birds. I don't know.
It's not like you're going to be stranded for a day and a half or 3 or 4
or a week.
That depends on which weather station you listen to.
Well, we have good people plowing the streets here, so you're not going to be stranded.
Yeah, we do.
Yep.
You know, it's not like 100. Well, how many years back, Kathy? Should we say?
For what?
For horse-drawn plows.
For the horse-drawn plows?
Yeah.
I wasn't there, Ken. I know a lot, but I really wasn't there.
That was well before her time.
Well before my time.
I'm not suggesting that she was around then.
Oh, I misunderstood.
She knows.
She knows these things.
Yeah. She knows that she is my
go-to for my Westfield info.
Yeah, here's the proof.
Class is in session. It's Westfield historian extraordinaire Kathy Palmer.
89.5 WSKB.
That's the only reason why I asked her that.
Well, we did have city plows in the 20s and 30s, so I think it was a while back before we were dragging the logs down Franklin Street. It was a while.
So 60s, and some of you other folks in here might be able to talk about this.
The days of the auto car.
Getting to school in the 60s, early 70s. What'd you have to deal with here?
We didn't. Well, everybody didn't have the cars back then. If you guys remember,
everybody rode the bus or walked.
You didn't have the busing because you didn't have all the outlying neighborhoods that we have in Westfield now. You had from a school, at Southampton Road. I think we've got 7 buses coming in and out. We didn't even have Southampton Road until the 50s, so you just didn't have the busing that you have now. You didn't have to get people out.
You had to walk uphill both ways.
We walked bare feet.
Yeah.
Well,
bare feet carrying 20 pounds.
Truth be known, I grew up in Agawam, but we walked quite a ways to school. I walked to school until I got to high school, and then we took the bus. But we didn't have all these snow days.
You know what,
I know,
though?
you just went.
A couple of years ago, Kenny asked me we did a show on snow days, and I looked it up. And statistically, folks, the amount of snow days hasn't really changed.
Really?
Over time, we think there was, and the excuse they gave was, and of course, this is just one source. And as you know, when you look up one source, there are issues with it. So I'm not saying this is the gospel truth. But when we were kids, we weren't paying attention to how many snow days we had. As an adult, you do. So we tend to think, we didn't have as many. And I don't know how true that really is. But we tend to think we didn't, but it hasn't really changed.
We had a lot in '82 because the DPW was on strike.
They were. Yeah. It was. I got to tell you guys, don't ever let that happen again.
Well, ask the mothers, like my daughter with 3 young girls, that 2 in school and a new baby, how many snow days there are. She can tell you. Because she says, boy, snow day, and then they don't have school on the Friday, so she's got them 4 or 5 days in a row with no break.
Yep.
That's tough.
Yep. And I think that happens, too, honestly, because there's days off now for the Monday holidays. There's half days for the conferences. So we tend to think, and I think there are more days in between, but not necessarily always snow days. We do have time off.
Yeah, I grew up in Ohio, and we only had 1 week. Actually, we didn't even have a winter break. We went right straight from Christmas right to May. We were always out before Memorial.
That's how it is in Texas. They're out really early. They're out the same time as the colleges.
Right.
So the number of days off, we didn't have the Monday holidays. We now got 13 of them throughout the 12-month calendar. So that does add up a lot besides snow days.
I think it does. I think you're right. These Monday holidays are killers.
Yeah. Well, it pushes the kids in school all the way into the middle, end of June, depending on how many you have.
Oh,
God.
Shortens up that summer.
And it doesn't give me a warm, fuzzy feeling when I have to work on those Monday holidays.
I know everybody feels bad for you.
Yes. I mean, it irritates the heck out of me.
Ken, that's nice.
I love you too, Kathy. We have code in the studio, and that's nice means something else.
Never mind.
Due to constraints of federal communication requirements, we won't get into.
Just be glad you're not a dairy farmer, because they're working 7 days a week, 24 hours. So.
7 days a week.
Storms, they don't have snow days. The cows don't take a snow day. They just don't, and they got to
need to be milked every day.
They do
Twice a day.
When we get a storm like this, it's a tough one because they have to plow out the barnyard. You can't have a foot of snow in the barnyard.
Right.
So they have to clean. It's horrible.
I would never be able to be a farmer. because I take off too often. That's why I can't even have a cat or a dog,
right,
or fish,
right.
I can't even have an aquarium because I'm never home. The fish would die.
That's what they call a choice. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Same thing for plants. All my plants would die.
Never mind having children.
Really?
Yeah. I'm the only bachelor, I think, out of the entire WSKB crew. So,
I think you are.
yeah, I unfortunately look at things a little differently from time to time. After this break, I think I want to talk about city stuff.
Oh, is that what we're here for?
Yes.
I mixed it up now.
We digress.
Where the coffee?
I thought we were done.
I don't go in for the debate or the confrontation anymore, but I do have a couple of copies of the Westfield News with some articles we can touch upon. I know, Ralph, you brought in a folder, so I know you probably have some talking points you want to go over.
Oh, no. That's just research for.
And we're going to ask John how it's been being the El Presidente so far this year. 8:44. We'll be back right after this.
Shining star for you to see what your life can truly be. Shining star for you to see what your life can truly be. Shining star for you to see what your life can truly be.
Support for community programming on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. Visit bettsplumbing.com or 14 Coleman Avenue, Westfield. Public welcome.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Commercial Distributing Company of Westfield. Now in its third generation of family ownership, Commercial is one of the premier beverage distributors of Western Massachusetts. The Plasek family and the staff of Commercial Distributing wishes you good times throughout the year and urges you to drink responsibly. Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Barnes & Noble College Bookstore at Westfield State University, right here in the Ely Campus Center. Whether you're a student, faculty member, or friend of the university, it's the place to shop. Everything from Westfield State t-shirts, sweatshirts, and gift merchandise to all of your academic needs. Offering textbook materials in new, used, ebook, and rental formats. Visit the bookstore on campus or online at www.westfieldstate.bncollege.com. We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646. Friday mornings is something different on 89.5 FM. It's JP's Talk About Town.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
You're listening to Ken's Den with Ken Stonsky.
And I did that just to get up to 8:49 on the nose. And if you're watching the clock, I did it.
You should be proud.
Well done.
I am proud.
Your efficiency speaks for itself.
I'm one of the only people here that watch that clock.
I'm watching it.
You can't wait for it to be over, right?
So how's everything going in city council chambers?
Great.
I've been to a couple meetings so far this year.
Yeah. I think we're doing okay. It took a little getting used to, I think, for people with the seating arrangement, but I think that's worked out pretty well. It gives everybody a chance to, interconnect with each other instead of the sides like we had, previously.
And for people who aren't or haven't been following, you assigned each and every counselor a seat.
I did.
Mm-hmm.
I did. And I thought that was going to, again, bring communication between counselors that previously weren't really talking to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And
seems like it.
I think it's worked out. And, every change, it takes a little getting used to. But I think that if you look around, there's still a little bit of shouting back and forth. I had to use the gavel a few times the other night, but
it wasn't me, was it?
No, you were pretty good the other night. You were well behaved. Thank you for that.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it. Anger management classes are working.
Our poor city clerk thinks the hammer is going to come out and hit her in the back of the head, and I assured her that wouldn't happen.
That's only if Bobby Paul has it.
Yeah. Yes.
Make sure there's extra glue on the gavel.
But I think that there's a lot more thought. As I can see now with people that are, once they're talking to each other and they don't group, I think that there's a lot more going on there, and they have a better understanding of where some of these other counselors may be coming from.
I have no complaints about my seat because it didn't change.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've been watching, I'll watch from home or I'll sit in the audience and I'll just watch and go, okay.
I think it's really beneficial to have a new guy next to an experienced guy. Because Matt Emershy sits next to me, and he's always asking me questions, which is outstanding. I appreciate that because that means he's got a willingness to learn. And because I'm next to him, I can expound some of my experiences for him, and I think it's helped a lot. I think the meetings are running a little stronger and a little smoother, and I don't think it's been a bad thing. I think it's a good thing to change things up.
And I have no problem with a rookie counselor turning to a seasoned vet and saying, hey, look, what does this mean? Or what do I have to do next?
Well,
because it shows responsibility.
And, truth be told, when I first got on the council back in 2009 or 8 or whatever it was, I sat next to P.J. Miller. And being green, I was going to come in, I was going to solve every problem, and, going to take everything on. And after the second meeting, we recessed, and P.J. looked at me and he said, you got to slow down. He said, you got to learn, use your ears and not your mouth for a few meetings and kind of get an idea, because I was kind of making a fool of myself.
You can't be a Lenny Burlingame out of the gate.
Yeah, well,
and it's tough because I had to learn this being an employee, that it doesn't move fast. You have to kind of plan things in advance, and things happen down the road, and it's just that's the way it's set up, and it's okay.
Well, you got to remember, government is not a sprint.
No, it's
a
not.
marathon. And once you get that concept down, you can understand you're not going to change the world tomorrow. It takes time. You got to take little steps. You can't do it all at once. And my first seat was next to Jimmy Adams, and I couldn't have sat next to a better guy. Took me under his wing. He showed me the process. This is a 2-motion read. This is a resolution. You'll need to vote on it once. Those are the intricacies you don't learn right off the bat. That's not taught in Government 101.
Right.
This is taught
And there really is no government 101.
No.
Not anymore, unfortunately.
No,
I
not
think
with the
that's
media considerations and everything else we got going on. But I think that we've been doing pretty good this year, and I think that we're making some progress. There's a lot of issues out there that people are talking about in social media, but there's the same issues that come up every year. We have potholes. We always have potholes.
Right.
Some years are more treacherous than others, unfortunately.
We will always have potholes.
Yeah, this is another year where we got to the extreme cold, and then those days where it crept up to 70.
Right.
And those are just destructive to the roads.
Now, one of the arguments on social media, and I had promised I'm not going to debate or get confrontational. I don't think this is. But one of the arguments on social media is that they're really bad this year, and lately they've been bad because there hasn't been proper upkeep in the past of the roads.
Well, there's drainage issues with most of the roads that have these problems.
Right.
They're not going to be cured by throwing a few shovelfuls into a hole. Okay, they're subsurface problems. They were from the original construction of the road, and you're not going to change that unless you get back down to a base or you create drainage on the sides of the road that forces the water away from the underside of the blacktop. And, that's something that, Dave Billups is working very hard. He's got a list of roads that he's working on, some of the worst ones. Western Avenue is brutal. I mean, we all drove up here today. But truth
And it's
be known
because
with
of the
that,
drainage.
Yeah, but you have to understand, that project is moving forward. That whole roadway is going to get redone. So the amount of resources you can spend at this point to only undo them, shortly to redo the whole thing, you can't spend the money. North Road is a disaster.
I found that everybody's complaining about the intersection by Cumberland Farms at North and Southampton Road, and the city doesn't own that intersection. That's owned by the state of Massachusetts.
Correct.
Department of Transportation. And I saw somebody put the sign up and complain about it, and I almost commented, and I'm like, you know what? Let them find out. It's okay to discover for yourself who owns that road. The city could touch it, but then they'd be in trouble with the DOT for touching it.
Right.
And the road legally closed signs, you go up to Florence or Leeds, and they're installed permanently.
They have those during the summer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's incredible. And, you're talking about actually getting down and repairing the roads to take care of drainage. That means that a simple milling of the
That's not
road
gonna fix the problem,
and resurfacing is not going to fix it, because I can tell you exactly why. Go down Meadow Street. All right? They had milled that street and just resurfaced it 10, 12 years ago. And you can see what the condition is like, because they didn't repair things underneath.
Right, but keep in mind, too, on Meadow Street, there was a tremendous amount of infrastructure work that got done underneath the pavement by way of sewers, waters, gas lines, electric lines, upgrading. And a lot of the trenching and things that were done there, the compaction issues there, you can see there's dips in the road everywhere. The compaction wasn't done as it probably should have been. I've addressed that for several years with the DPW and others, that the way to stop some of this deterioration is to make sure that the roadways are repaired properly when they're excavated. And, if they're not done, you're going to end up with dips and do's. We have them on my street. We have them, they're everywhere. And until you get a handle on how that's got to be done and make that happen every time they're excavated, Meadow Street's going to look like it does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's settling.
Yeah.
Earth settles.
And there's so much. If you drive by, look how many patches there are on that road.
Yep. Oh, they've done a lot of work there over the years now. Since then, adding probably gas services to houses and things like that might not have been there before.
Right, and that's
and since then too, that gas station that was down there is gone. It's now a house, so there was work done for that. Things that weren't there before are there now. I mean, if you drove down, you would have never known there was a gas station there.
Right. Yeah, but that
For
road
years.
is very, very old, and there's a lot of structure, subsurface structure there that just has been upgraded. There's a lot that still needs to be done.
And didn't we use some type of some different technique on Union recently?
Yeah, that's the where they take the aggregate and they reuse it.
Yeah, it's like a real thin coat.
Yeah, it's
and that's holding up pretty well, actually.
Let's see how that is 5 years from now.
Right.
The jury's still out. It seems like it's doing pretty well, and I hope that it does do well. But again, if you've got something wrong, your foot underneath the ground, that's going to come back at some point. You got to solve the drainage issues.
Yeah. They weren't touting that as a long-term solution, but multi-year.
Yeah, and I think it got a lot done for a little bit of money, as opposed to going in there and just resurfacing everything and spending a fortune to end up with the same problem a couple of years down the road. So efficiency-wise, I think maybe it's a little bit better. Like I say, the jury's still out. We'll see how long it lasts. But I think it's a good fix.
Yep.
And it seems to be working. But again, Dave Billups is working very hard on, and the DPW guys are working very hard on drainage projects that are going to solve some of these issues. And that that's where you're going to get the most result, is when you solve the drainage problems.
Yep. Absolutely.
I was talking with the mayor the other day, and his plan is that once the plant's open, he's going to contract with Burke Brothers to come and help with the pothole situation. So it's just not going to be the 11 guys in DPW filling potholes.
Well, and that's the other thing.
That is actually excellent news. That's the first time I've heard of that, too.
So,
well, keep in mind with your DPW, we're very short-staffed in the DPW. A couple of guys are actually mechanics. There's a couple of guys that have job descriptions that, and sometimes you can't cross over the line on these job descriptions. So if a couple of guys are out on sewer and a couple of guys are a mechanic, you got 5 guys.
Yep.
You don't realize how many miles of roadway we have in this city?
Almost
250. I think we're top 5 in the state for road mileage in a municipality.
And so you take that and have 5 guys trying to keep up with the amount of roadway. It's just not possible.
Yeah, they can't.
It's not.
And the funny thing is I know Danny Knappich used to talk about it when he was the mayor and on his show. When he was in high school in the 80s, that there was 40, 50 guys on just DPW.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there was that many, but I bet you there was at least 25.
He said with summer hires and stuff like that, there was almost 50 people in there. He said the average was like 35.
They always used to put on a summer crew of college kids.
Yep.
Not anymore.
Yeah, they can't afford it.
No, we got no money in the budget.
Right.
So we need more money to work on our roads. We need more money for a lot of things. I'm going to continue on with the city chat. It's 9 o'clock on the nose. WSKB Westfield will be back right after this.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Bay State Dental. Comprehensive dentistry at 14 convenient locations in Springfield, Chicopee, Longmeadow, West Springfield, Belchertown, East Longmeadow, Ludlow, Northampton, Greenfield, and Wilbraham, as well as 29 Broad Street in Westfield. Bay State Dental makes it a priority to help you achieve and maintain the healthy smile you deserve. Visit on the web at baystatedental.com. We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646.
Thursday morning from 6 till 8, it's Patrick Berry, owner of the Westfield News Group.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
9:05 on the nose.
Oh, you're good.
Oh, you know what? That microphone is turned up way too much now because I'm hearing that microphone and my microphone in my headset.
How about this one? Is this one better?
Yeah, it's much better.
Okay, great.
All right, so we don't need to crank that microphone up anymore.
Right. Are we okay?
Yeah. We're talking about technical problems.
I'm glad you straightened that out.
Yeah, I
Sounds
was
much
afraid
better
of where
now.
you were headed with that keyword.
Testimony.
Oh, all right, let's leave this one alone.
Ken Stansky behind the microphone, Peter Colson from the board, side chick Kathy Palmer in his house, and our guests this week are councilors Beltrandi and Figy.
And thank you for inviting us, by the way. I want to make sure we
and
say
thank
that.
you for coming in.
And thank you
pleasure. Anytime.
Thank you for everybody that's listening and watching. We appreciate it more than you know.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah. So past couple of months, new president in his house, and when the first responsibility you had was to assign subcommittees.
Yes.
How do you think those assignments are working out thus far?
I think they're working pretty well. The counselor to my left is doing a fantastic job, as he always has. He devotes a lot of time, a lot of energy, and spends a lot of time making sure that we've got things on the right path. So,
and he's L&O.
Chair of L&O.
Mm-hmm.
And as you probably know, Dan Alley is the chair of finance, which is the other biggie. And I think that Dan has it takes a lot of time and a lot of energy to do these things.
Yeah.
And he's getting an education by way of talking to department heads. He spends a lot of time talking to the mayor directly about budget issues and financial things. And I think it's given him a different perspective on how things work. And I talked to Dan yesterday, and I said, hey, any way I can help you, with any of this stuff, because we're coming into budget season. It gets pretty hectic. Mm-hmm. But Dan is he's really.
It sounds like it's. I'm listening to him in council meetings. He's starting to dig in and getting a real. His eyes are opening to what's really going on.
It is.
He's really doing his due diligence. He's doing the research into the various issues that, and I think it's having a positive impact for him.
The other thing that he's doing that I'm happy about, and I've been really putting it out there, is that he's encouraging the public to get involved in the process with these committee meetings and with these budget meetings so that he can get an idea of what people are actually looking for. And he's going to put out a schedule of when these meetings are, and again, encourage people to come in, sit down, ask questions. It's important to be involved in the process. It's a lot like when the election comes around. Everybody, they say you got to be involved in the process. You got to elect people. This is the only way you can do it, is be involved. It's the same thing with the budget and with the money. You got to be involved, and I think Dan has really stepped it up and said, I'm going to really put it out there and let people know that I want them to be a part of that process.
When he gets his schedule together, have him email it to me so I can put it up on Channel 12.
And he's pretty good about putting things out on social media as well, so that people can get,
the more people that see it, the more eyeballs that see it, the better.
Right, and I've always encouraged, as Councilor Figy knows, that committee meetings are where the hard work and the heavy lifting have to get done. And I'm encouraging all the councilors, and I think all of them are on board, that we need to take the time and do the committee meetings and have the input there so that when we go to the floor, we're making decisions based on the process that we go through. And also, we're not spending, an hour on an item that we really could have solved in committee. So I think it's important for us to, to keep on that track and just have everybody be at these committee meetings and have them be a part of the process.
Mm-hmm. Now, the finance committee, the three that are on there have never been on finance before.
They have not, but.
And I'm saying that because I've noticed that one of the other counselors who's been in finance for a while has actually been helping them out and giving them some help along the way, some advice.
And let's face it, Councilor Flaherty, Councilor Paul, they were both on finance, and they are more than willing to be helpful in the process.
Which is important. That's good.
Well, we all have the same goal here. The goal is the betterment of the city of Westfield and to make sure that we provide the best services for the citizens and the taxpayers that we can. Yeah. And the only way you can do that is to work together. So if Dan Alley has a question, or Andrew Surprise has a question, or Matt Emershai has a question, I want him to ask me. I want him to ask the mayor. I want him to ask the people that can give them the answers. Mm-hmm. And it makes it a lot easier than when, these things come out on the floor. You don't have this mistrust and distrust in the answer because you're getting the answers directly from the people, the department heads, the mayor, and those people that are the most informed.
And Dave, when he was on the committee, he dug in and really learned a lot. So he has a lot of knowledge to pass on to the folks.
Well, hey, Dave is a very smart guy. Yep. Dave and I have talked. Dave and I talked yesterday for a half an hour on the phone. Is that all right?
Okay.
Okay.
Is there anything else you want to disclose? No. Have you eaten a bagel with anyone recently?
No, I'm clear of that right now.
Okay.
But Dave and I talked about a lot of things on the phone yesterday, and he's concerned about the budget. He always is.
Yep.
And he has input. He realizes that he's not on finance, but he has a lot of things that he can help those guys with.
Right.
And, he gives them information. How they use it is up to them.
Well, and he's also still on long-range finance, which is good because he's looking out, and this has always been one of his pet topics, is he's always been looking out for the long range of the city. And I think a good spot for him is on long-range finance and where the city's going for this year, next year, for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years out.
Right. And just remember, we talked about this a little bit before. The people that are on the council that have been there for a number of years, Ralph, of course, does a great job on his end. On the other side of me, I've got the former council president who's been there for 14 years, 16 years.
Yep.
Brent has a lot of knowledge of process. He's been involved for a long time. So you've got a lot of people there. And I don't want to single anybody out because everybody there has talent. Yeah. And everybody there has input that's important. And, Cindy Harris, she's the PAC person. She does a phenomenal job. I mean, all the years that I was on the council before, PAC kind of was a little bit generic, but she spends a lot of time putting together things and letting people know who these people are.
Yep.
And where they come from and what their qualifications are. So
she made me blush.
Yeah, and you can go around the room, again, not singling anybody out, but everybody has a talent and everybody has input that's important to the process.
Has she gotten used to her new seat, by the way?
She's good.
Okay.
She's good. Yeah. And the reason she wanted to be there is that the left side of the room from where I'm sitting is a lot cooler than the right side of the room.
Yeah, because it doesn't get the sun.
Yeah, and so her initial thing was that she's cold and she wants to be warm. So it's an accommodation, not a problem. It's how it works.
Room 315 is kind of like that. There's some warm and cold areas in that room.
Okay.
Didn't we just redo the whole HVAC system down there?
Yeah.
That was done. Yep.
But that room used to be different. It's configured differently now. It used to be a bigger room than it is now.
Yeah.
They cut it in half.
Yeah, 315 and
so now you got half
315A.
the HVAC. You got half of it. So
Yep.
You're going to have some variations.
All right. 9:13 in the morning. Instead of diving into another topic, I think now would be a great opportunity to cut away. Play us away, Pete.
You said you had it made, but you've been had. The woman no good, no how. I'm thinking maybe the blood is bad. Bad blood. The woman was born to lie, make promises she can't
Underwriting support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Greater Westfield Chamber of Commerce, the voice of business for the Greater Westfield communities. Informing, educating, advocating, the Chamber provides opportunities for members to make meaningful connections on local, regional, and state levels. For more information on the Chamber's many events, workshops, and programs, as well as the benefits of membership, visit westfieldbiz.org. The Chamber focuses on the most important economy, yours.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donut shops of Westfield and the Sardina family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield.
We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646.
He rules the roost on Thursday from 6 till 10. It's Patrick Berry.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
Shady Acres. Shady Acres.
I'm Everett Carrington. Shady Acres is an incredible, upscale, state-of-the-art, top-notch condominium development. A short drive out of town on some pristine wetlands, away from the noise and uninvited diversity of the city.
Shady Acres.
And when you buy into that dream that is Shady Acres, not only do you get a luxurious 5,000 square foot condo with underground parking for your newly acquired sports car, but there's also a jacuzzi for entertaining.
Jacuzzi.
Each condo is tastefully furnished with a stock bar and an exotic waterbed shaped like a dollar sign. Shady Acres also has a golf range, firing range, helipad, and exotic petting zoo. When your kids come to visit, you're successful. Start defining your lifestyle. Start defining yourself.
Shady Acres.
WSKB 918 and a half. Brought to you by Shady Acres.
Where do you find these?
Well, let's see. You got a.
I don't leave my house
Got a
on the
real
weekend.
estate guy and a builder in the room. I was starting to wonder where this came from.
Really? Why isn't this on our radar?
I think we've been blindsided.
I think so.
I'd go live at that place in a drop of the hat.
Yeah, if it really existed.
Yeah.
I heard it's in Siberia.
Yeah, right.
well, never mind then. Not warm enough there for me.
Putin's palace.
Putin's palace with the bearskin rugs.
Right, yeah.
All right. So
we just hammered you, Ken.
I will take it, and I will be a good boy about it.
Okay. Moving on.
Yes, move along.
And to give it back.
It's not gonna move along.
It's only
No,
fair.
I'm not grabbing the newspapers yet.
Thank you.
Oh, okay.
I'm grabbing a printout of a letter that was sent to the city council from Mayor Brian Sullivan last week. He, since he got into office, would get up and address the council with what was on the upcoming agenda,
What he was bringing to the agenda.
whatnot. And it's the first time, really, that the mayor had done this.
Yeah.
And when I watched everything on Channel 15, I actually kind of appreciated it. It gives you a rundown as to what's on his mind and what's going on. And basically, the letter said that he's no longer doing that, and I'm gonna kind of miss that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are. He's very transparent by doing that. The other thing is that on the Tuesdays before the Thursday meetings, Councilor Alley and I have a meeting with the mayor to go over things that are going to be brought out by the mayor's office. And we discuss them. We try and get any of the things out of the way that might be a problem moving forward. And so I think that the mayor's decided that there's some resistance to him, or that he's not providing something beneficial. So he decided to back away from it, which is in my view is not a good thing. But that's his decision.
It's his call. I'm disappointed that in the result of this that a counselor would feel that it was a waste of time. I think it was admirable for Brian to start this. I mean, it's the first time in the history of the city a mayor came into the city council chambers. Normally, they only do it when they bring in the budget. You know, you never see him. But he was there. He would answer questions about anything, even if it wasn't on the agenda.
Right, I think it's a unique opportunity.
It is. And I don't think some councilors understood that they could ask questions of anything. They just sat there and looked. But I'm hoping he'll reconsider. I'm going to ask him to. I think that it was a valuable service that he provided in the name of transparency. I don't know how much more transparent you could get.
Right.
And if you didn't like it and you don't want him to do it, then does that mean you're against transparency in government? I don't think you can have enough of that. And so I was disappointed to find that out.
You know, I'm looking across the studio here, and I know you have a file of goodies there. It looks like you actually have the same printout out right now.
Yeah, I do.
All right. Do you have anything else in that file of goodies you might want to talk to us about?
Just my bathroom reading. I have a copy of the city charter. You know, it's very.
You're not saying that's the only place it should be read?
Oh, absolutely not. That's probably the one time that you're uninterrupted. So you can put total concentration into it.
So you can really concentrate on the city
and then
charter when you're sitting on the pot.
Oh God!
Terrific. There we go.
I'll pot you
because
down.
the whole show, the whole
you
show just went right down the toilet.
Yeah,
That's it.
Oh, don't go.
Flush it. The other thing I have.
I'm sorry.
I know.
I had that sound bite. I had to use it.
And he's trying to keep going.
Use it or lose it. I'm trying to maintain some decorum in this den of iniquity.
All right, Ralph, I'll get you all back. That's it. Focus.
All right, let's get back to Uncle John's bathroom reader.
And the
here.
other thing I have is a copy of the council rules. And the reason I have that is because there's a motion in a committee that will eventually end up in L&O on reviewing and changing or revising the rules. So I think it'd be important to know what they are before we try to change them. And then the last thing I have in this folder is all the items that are pending in the Legislative and Ordinance Committee. And as you can see, the L&O is a very busy committee.
Extremely.
We have a lot of stuff.
You got a lot of pages there.
Is there any stuff that's gone completely out of date and is no longer relevant? How often do you clean up the old stuff?
I have been cleaning out for the last 3 years.
Ooh, okay. Because there's stuff that just linger, probably from previous committees and things like that.
There was one item from 2011.
Okay.
2009. So we've gotten rid of those things.
I think one of them was mine.
Now, does the city
the
city clerks?
Yeah.
City
it's
clerk
now in ZPD. Yes.
Right, where it should have been. It should have been in L&O.
The city clerk has to keep track of all that, right?
Yes.
Yep.
She has to keep a running tally of what's in what committees and things like that.
She publishes a list every 2 weeks of items in committee, so that the individual committee chairs can schedule their meetings and know what's on their in their file, so that they can get them out on the floor.
Okay.
So what I try to do as chairman of the L&O is take an old item along with something that's not as old, as well as something recent, so we can keep things going so they don't build up and pile up, and we can clean a house a little bit. So it's good to go back and look at what's in there. There's one motion from Councilor Sweeney on the definition of a family. I'm just not sure where that wants to go, because the definition of a family has changed so much in recent years.
Is there stuff that just gets killed in committee?
Oh, there can be. Anything that comes into committee after a public hearing has 90 days to be enacted, or it dies.
Okay.
There have been some
I didn't know
things
that.
did that. I withdrew the Noble Hospital Zone ordinance because we weren't going to make the 90 days.
I saw that, yep.
So that's why we withdrew that, and that's being reworked as we speak. Councilor Surprise and I are meeting with the hospital and concerned parties to develop a ordinance to bring in, so it's a different system than the one that we used.
Was that more about like an education of the neighborhood?
I think it was an education for everybody.
Okay.
I learned a lot through the process. I think Councilor Surprise learned a lot. I think the neighbors learned a lot. So yeah, I think it was a very educational purpose. It definitely was not a waste of time. We really did a lot of hard work while we were working on that. So, and all that work has been carried over into what's going to be coming out eventually.
Right, not like you're starting from scratch.
No,
you're building
not
on
at all.
you're building
We're
on a
building.
slightly better base than you did the first time around.
Absolutely. And I also think the councilors understand the procedure a lot better. When we first introduced that item, it was just to send it to committee to develop the zoning ordinance so that we could have open meetings, we could have dialogue, we could have the neighbors in. But it was so new to the council that they didn't totally understand it, so they voted that down. So the only other option to create a zoning ordinance is to bring it out as an ordinance form. So we threw one together quickly, knowing that it wasn't perfect, that it had imperfections, that it was going to need to be changed. And that's exactly what happened. And it turned into a very long, tedious, at times painful process. So we learned a lot, I think.
When you do a fundamental change like that, it's going to be hard. It doesn't come easy.
Well, if you submit a zoning ordinance and then on the floor it gets changed substantially, it has to go through the public hearing process a second time.
Right.
It has to be reposted. So these are the dangers you run at by going through that process.
That's why stuff like that should be done in committee.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So that's why it's set up in the charter or in the charter to do it that way.
Now, I got a question for you guys because this is carried over from another show. When was the last time there was a top-to-bottom review of the zoning ordinances in Westfield?
Probably when they first wrote them.
Yeah, I think that's
because I know West Springfield said that they hadn't done theirs for almost 20 or 30 years, and they're doing a top-to-bottom review right now.
And the work that
and
they're
it takes about 2 or 3 years to do it. Yep.
Yeah, I think it's something we need to look at too.
Yeah.
You know, things change over the years, and we've got some things in committee now for flag lots, estate lots. These are things that we don't offer in our current bylaws and regulations, where surrounding communities do. So, there's a lot of things that come into play when you do these changes, but there's a time to start looking at it. When you're going to make a major change, maybe that's the time to really start revamping the whole thing.
I'm wondering if there's some strange blue laws that are hidden in there somewhere, like you can't take a bath on the third Sunday in the month of June or something like that. Yeah, but laws like that exist.
Oh, it does. It does. It's possible. I've never read all the zoning ordinances. The only time I look at a zoning ordinance is when it comes into L&O to be changed, to be amended, or to be created. So I have no idea. I know in 58 was the last time that residential A was changed. And that's when the word hospital was deleted from residential A. And that's what's caused the bind that we're in now. If the hospital was left in residential A, then Zoning Board of Appeals would be the appropriate board for them to go to for a variance. But it's out, so it's a non-conforming use. So now it's not really appropriate, and it needs to be...
Right, they're going to the wrong place right off the bat.
Right, right.
So before I get into a couple of articles in the paper here, I do want to take a moment or two before we head in the break to touch upon rescinding the sexual predator regulations here in town.
Sure. As chair of L&O, you get asked to do a lot of things that you might normally not do. My wife, as most of you know, is a 32-year veteran detective of the Westfield Police Department, and she did major crimes, which included sex offenders and sex abuse. For me to bring out a bill or an amendment to the zoning ordinance to delete our sex offender ordinance was a difficult thing and a difficult decision, not only for me, but I think for every city councilor.
Yeah.
It really wasn't something that we would choose to do because we do want to make Westfield the best place it can be, but we also want to strive to protect the citizens and especially the kids of our community. When the Supreme Court made their decision in the Lynn case, there were 41 communities that had very similar ordinances. Now, our ordinance was modified after several different towns and their bylaws, because a town bylaw, before it can be approved, must be approved by the Attorney General's office. So you would think that the language and the legalities would be taken care of in that part. So that's what we modeled ours after. But then the Supreme Court case came down and says, in essence, you're penalizing someone twice. They've gone to and done their term of punishment for their crime, and then when they get out, you're punishing them further by telling them where they cannot live. So that was deemed to be unconstitutional. The Supreme Court also says that local municipalities do not have any right in this area because the Commonwealth has developed such a comprehensive system on the state level. So of trying to avoid any possible unconstitutionality in the ordinance, as well as the possibility of lawsuits and all that kind of stuff. The law department asked me if I would introduce this bill to repeal the sex offender ordinance that we had. And as chair of L&O, I said I would do that. Because I feel as chair, you do some things that you normally wouldn't be doing.
Right.
Okay. I'm very
or
proud.
stuff that's counterintuitive to you as a human being.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know.
Exactly.
I brought that
So-
up because I know you really hated to do that.
So what we did was, as a collective body, we saw the wisdom in repealing the ordinance. We didn't agree with it. We thought that it wasn't what we really wanted to do, but that we didn't have much of a choice. So in response to that, Cindy Harris, Councilor Harris, and I penned a resolution to our state senator and to our state representative to encourage and support them in their efforts to change the state sex offender registry so that it would provide more protections. So we tried to do something positive out of a negative. I'm very proud of the city council that they all signed on that. So that was a unanimous resolution that was passed, and the mayor is signing it today to send it to Senator Humison and Representative Vilas. So in a nutshell, that's how that all came about.
And that's the extent of what you guys can actually do.
Right.
Exactly.
We just need to encourage the registry situation. That's where we're having the difficulties. So
yeah, a guy in Chicopee was just arrested the other day for not registering.
Right.
Yep.
So, I mean, there's
and it happens all the time over my career. You know,
absolutely,
it happens all the time. The people move in, they don't know, and eventually catch up with them, but it's the lag time.
Right. Yeah.
We know that we've had those issues in the theater. Not in Westfield, but in another theater. We had someone and they didn't identify, and you've got children in your
right. Yeah,
we've instituted. What we've done is said we have a right to ask the police department. So
yeah, I mean, if you're
that.
a coach right now in sports, youth sports, you have to do a Corey check.
Yes,
I have to do,
which is a criminal, criminal offender registration, your criminal record.
Right. So I know Senator Humison has a couple bills on the floor that he's co-sponsoring about level 3 sex offenders. In speaking with him, he's willing to expand that beyond level 3s. And Representative Vilas has been very supportive. So if we get any dates for public hearings that the states will be running, we'll make sure we get those out so people know and they can go voice their concerns.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and it was one of those items that did generate a lot of comment from the public. You know, we did take all their concerns very seriously, and like I said, I thought the process worked.
Just for some clarification, can you tell our listeners what the levels are? Because I don't think everyone really knows.
There are 3 levels according to our state sex offender registry. Level 1 is one that the community isn't really that concerned about. The level 2s and 3s are more serious. I think
they classify by what, likely to reoffend.
Correct.
Yeah, likely to reoffend. So a level 3 is 52% likely to reoffend.
Yeah, that's pretty high.
Yeah. So that's how they are broken down by the crime they committed, by the length of the sentence that they served, and by the prognosis for rehabilitation.
9:34 and a half. Let's do a quick break, Pete. We'll be back right after this.
WSKB's programming is generously underwritten by Whip City Fiber. Westfield Gas and Electric wants to help you decide where they offer gigabit speed Whip City Fiber Internet next. Turn your neighborhood into a fiberhood. Get on the list today at www.whipcityfiber.com. We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646.
Wednesday mornings from 6 till 8, it's Tina Gorman with Wake Up Wednesday.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
You're listening to Ken's Den with Ken Stomsky.
And I am Ken Stomsky, 9:35 3/4.
I hope you're Ken Stomsky.
Yeah,
scary if you're not.
I should have. I should have played something to bring me up to the top of the hour, but I
a little
didn't.
Star Wars would have been good.
Yeah. That's nice.
I heard that.
You like that one, Kathy? So I did bring a couple of copies of the Westfield News in.
Thank you for supporting our local publisher, by the way. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I think more of us should get a copy of the paper. It's 50 cents. I mean, come on.
Yeah. You get home delivery.
Don't get on social. Don't get on social media.
No, 75
and 75. I'm sorry. It's 50 for the digital.
But we will miss it if it's gone. It's the
but
only
don't get up on social media and say, where can I read it for free? I don't want to pay 75 cents for a copy of the newspaper.
Well, you know what? He has to support his new business too. So.
It's invaluable. You get a lot of articles on the front page. Like this one from January 30th. Yeah, I've been holding on to this one until I had a proper show. Law Department briefs committee on handling public requests. Do you remember that?
Yes.
All right. What's going on with that?
That was one in, I think it's going to be a 2-part series of the Law Department bringing the new people up to speed on how to request, for the public records, and also the process of the council, how to get things done. Attorney Phillips thought it was important, and I've done this before in the past too, when a new council comes in, to get in front of them, give them some guidance, and also answer some questions so that they have a handle on what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And as an experienced counselor, I find it very good to have a refresher of this, because it's something you don't deal with every day, and there are proper channels to go through to get information, and nobody's trying to hide anything. Just do it the right way so that there's a record of that transaction.
It sounds like common sense.
Well, no, because it's sometimes a little bit more involved than just common sense. There's rules you got to follow, and then there's stuff that's over and above that.
There's common sense in knowing that you should be able to go out and look for it or ask for it.
Yeah,
instead of just sitting there and assuming.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's on the city's webpage. It's very easy to do. It's not a difficult thread to follow through in order to submit. And the thing is that there are department heads that may know some things about an issue that are sensitive. For example, if a case is in litigation or pending litigation, you don't want to answer that as a city councilor without getting the okay or the facts from the proper person. So that's why that's why the public records request was created, and that's why it should be followed.
All right. Something else that was made the front page within the past month or so. Regularly, I've never been able to say that damn word. Regularly scheduled meetings in the city. So, and it's an attempt, I believe, to make sure that people know about all the subcommittee meetings that are going on so that they can attend them if they desire to.
Oh, have like a regular time for these things?
Right.
Well, I think what we're trying to do is get away from Thursday night meetings when we have city council meeting. PAC zone historically has done that on a regular basis, and that committee is so well run it can do that. But for example, finance is going to be the off Wednesday.
Right, that in-between week.
The in-between. I have been trying to schedule L&O on a consistent night, but with the 2 co-members I have, it's very difficult to coordinate their schedule. So we're working on that. But I've always had L&O off of the Thursday night meeting. So I think it's an attempt to keep things organized, give people a sense of stability that they can count on this, and so I don't think it's a bad idea. I really think scheduling committee meetings, unless it's an emergency or a real quickie on the night of a city council meeting, is not a good idea.
Well, it doesn't allow for discussion, after the fact, and sometimes councilors, they can't get to these meetings.
Right.
They might want to contact the chair and say, hey, I have an interest in this. What happened? And get some dialogue going before. Again, this is all going back to not having an hour presentation on the city council floor about every item that's coming out. It's to get these things done in committee so that we don't have that going on.
Right. The council agenda is long enough generally on any given night.
Well, it seems to be getting a lot longer, especially the last item on the agenda, motions by councilors. It's
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like that in my 4 years.
And again, in the process, you're seeing that, some of these committees now are learning the process of just saying, let's have Madam City Clerk read item B through H and refer to committee. Okay, that takes a whole chunk of that agenda out in one shot.
Yep.
And that process is starting to work.
Yeah, because all those items, when they're introduced by the mayor, usually they go to committee anyways. They have to.
Right. And again, stopping the discussion on the floor prior to the committee is the key to that whole thing.
Now, the scheduling of the subcommittees. Ralph, you had mentioned, well, it's difficult to lock the schedules down for the three of you for it to work out. Now, all of a sudden, you find a date and a time that works for you. Are you still eligible for that 48-hour period to hold that meeting?
Yeah, we're required to have a public notification 48 hours before holding the meeting. Mm-hmm. That's part of the public records law. And I try to have my agenda. The next L&O meeting is the 13th of March, and I sent out the agenda yesterday. Mm-hmm. So I want to give my committee members time to work on things, as well as I work closely with Attorney Reed in the law department, because most of the stuff I'm dealing with is ordinances or things of that sort. So I need the legal backup, the legal research, the legal background that I can't do. Mm-hmm. And I have developed a very good working relationship with her, and we get a lot of things done. So it's been very helpful. When available, she will attend the L&O meetings as well, mm-hmm. which has been very helpful for other councilors to hear from the law department. Mm-hmm. So
now something with the city's website, and I've subscribed to a few things. You can actually get notifications of meetings emailed to you.
Correct.
Okay. You also have the community calendar,
mm-hmm.
which if you pull it up, everything's listed on there. You can just scroll through and click on the dates, and you can see when the different committees meet, the times,
mm-hmm.
The agenda is posted,
mm-hmm.
and it's pretty easy. I mean, it's just the city.
But if you do have one committee you really want to follow, that's a great way to do it. Just go on the website, and you'll be notified of every meeting.
And I do it, and I'll get one, maybe two. They actually give you two different options of contact. You have an email option and a text option.
We are getting in the 21st century, aren't we?
It's actually,
not bad.
It's actually a pretty decent website for those of you who haven't gone onto it, and you're a little interested in what's going on around town, what's happening in our government. cityofwestfield.org, cityofwestfield.org, and you can find a slew of information there, including these guys' contact information if you need to discuss anything.
Right.
No, that's not a problem.
Nope.
Yeah, that's what we're there for.
Mm-hmm. And I'd rather you contact me personally than try to do it on Facebook.
Me too.
Because I'm not going to go into the Facebook whole episodes or any of that. Just call me if you're that interested. Give me a call.
Right, and
I'm
that's
readily available. I'm easily found.
That's what you guys signed up for.
Right.
Exactly.
9:44 in the morning. We'll be back right after this.
Underwriting for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Westfield, serving the youth of the Whip City and surrounding communities since 1969. For more information on the Great Futures Club for ages 3 to 5, happening weekdays, and the Club Teen Center for ages 11 and older, weekdays from 6:30 till 8 p.m., go online at bcgwestfield.org or visit the club at 28 West Silver Street. The Boys and Girls Club of Greater Westfield. Great futures start here. Underwriting for community radio is provided by the YMCA of Greater Westfield. Every day, the YMCA strengthens the community through programs and services focused on youth development, healthy living, and social responsibility. For all the Y's many programs and services, visit us on the web at www.westfieldymca.org. The YMCA, 67 Court Street in downtown Westfield. We're more than a gym. We're a cause. We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646. Wednesday mornings start off right from 6 to 8 a.m. with Tina Gorman and Wake Up Wednesday.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM WSKB Westfield.
Cock-a-doodle-doo,
corporation.
Cock-a-doodle-doo, and we can't be stopped. All you protesters can go to hell.
It's time for Clucking Bell. From the factory farmer to your plate,
The chicken's life is a sorry state. They're pumped full of chemicals, what the hell?
They even make my breasts swell.
Filled full of hormones so they get fat. At least we no longer slip in a rat. I love chicken with a shitty smell, and that's why I love Clucking Bell.
Clucking Bell. Suffering never tasted so good.
WSKB brought to you by Clucking Bell Chicken. All right.
A new low.
I needed to bring things up before I brought things down.
Oh, boy.
Where was the up?
Yeah, that's...
Oh, good one, Kathy.
Thank you for that, Kathy.
Ken, I appreciate
You're going to have to stay after class for that one.
Ken, after being raised on a poultry farm, I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
I love chicken.
You too.
Me, 3.
The road stabilization fund there, that's being attempted to put together and make happen. I do have an open invite to every counselor to come into the studio and chat about whatever's on their mind. Next month, I have Amber and Peter actually from City Hall. The following month, I'll have Emershai, Flaherty, and Babinski in here. So everyone does get an opportunity, if they ask me, to come on the first Mondays.
We've been saying that since you first took over the show. There's always been an open door policy.
And for quite a while, people weren't taking advantage of that. But I'm booking into May now.
I'm glad that people are taking advantage of it. It's good to hear.
And in this particular morning, we have Beltrandi and Figy in here. So let's get their views and opinions on the Road Stabilization Fund.
My initial reaction to the stabilization fund was in the way it was being presented to move forward. I had a real constitutional issue with the separation of powers between the executive branch and the legislative branch. I think those have been ironed out by the legal department. I think that the electorate spoke very loud and clear that they really would like to see something done about the roads, and I think this is one way to do it. Is it a perfect system? I don't think so. I don't think a perfect system exists. I think there's some things that are going to be explored and further developed and dug into once it gets in. It is now in the L&O committee, so we will be looking at some other things that go along with this. But
question on this one: is this going to be a fund that can be carried over from fiscal to fiscal?
As a stabilization, I believe
I
so.
do believe it can be. So that my hope is that we don't carry any money over. That we, and some of my big questions are, how do we get money out? I think it's easy to get money in because I think it's a 7 vote. Once the mayor says, okay, here's some money for that account, city council votes, 7 votes it into the stabilization fund.
Right.
But what I'm understanding from my reading is to get the money out, it's a 9 vote.
It is a 9 vote.
It's a 9 vote to get the money
Super
out.
majority.
Right.
And it has to be initiated by the mayor. I mean, the city council doesn't say, okay, now we can spend this money because we got it in this fund. It's
right, and there's other funds like that already exist fall under the same rules.
Exactly. I believe the PEG account is an example of that one.
Right.
So, I mean, it's not going to be a way to get money real quick. It's not going to be readily available. It's going to be there, but it's going to be a process to come out. And then how does it get delegated? Where does it go? I'm Ward 2. I want all the Ward 2 streets done. Okay, there's 5 other ward councilors who all have streets that want to get done. How do we decide how this gets divvied up? If we're going to battle this out on the council floor,
but shouldn't those projects? Wait a minute. Shouldn't those projects be coming from the DPW?
That should all be worked out. That's the part that needs to be there.
Here's the thing. Let's be realistic about this. Right now, the number is 720. The taxes for the meals, rooms, and that is $720,000 using what we have. Okay. There's some talk going on about how much we would put into the stabilization fund. You know, there's some negotiating going on, but in the grand scheme of things, $720,000 with what we need to do for road work and projects is nothing.
It's a drop in the bucket.
Realistically, if the mayor, through the DPW at the beginning of the construction season, came along and said, we're going to do a project in each one of the wards, and it's going to come up to this much money. Well, then the council's going to need to put 9 votes forward to take that money out of stabilization, that account, to go ahead and do those projects. It's just the 720. It's a big number, but it's very insignificant when you start talking about the projects.
If you paper mill was what, 1.5 million?
Yeah. Right. So I understand.
And that wasn't even the whole street.
No. And again, this, the electorate spoke. They said they wanted to see things done differently. They wanted to see some change. I think you're already seeing some of that, even besides the stabilization. And I think that it's a very real possibility this will happen. But again, if it's 500, if it's 600, if it's 700, whatever it is, that amount of money, it does not do an awful lot. When you start talking about Paper Mill Road, when you start talking about a situation like Western Avenue, even though that's, I'm not
state
using
project, yeah.
Right. But there's that kind of money doesn't do an awful lot. So that account's going to be depleted rather quickly when you start talking about, and again, Councilor Figy's a ward councilor. Every ward councilor has got to go up and
they should be fighting for their right to party.
They got to scratch out what they can for their constituents in the ward.
Yeah, so it doesn't really make a huge dent into things, but it is still $700,000. Why would the mayor, when he's putting the budget together, not say, okay, I know $700,000 is in the stabilization account, so I'm going to take $700,000 away from DPW now in order to make ends come together in other places?
Ouch.
I don't see that happening.
There's nothing to say he couldn't do that, but
Right.
realistically, I don't think he would do that. I think
it's an argument that I've heard.
It could be made.
Yeah. There's a lot of different variables, and it's hard for us to get into, what ifs. I mean, I don't think that that anybody can actually sit there and tell you that this is the scenario and how it's going to work out. It's a negotiation, and it's in process, and it's going to go through that process. And however it ends up, let's face it, there's 720,000 out there that's going to end up somewhere in some manner, and it's going to get spent on roads and sidewalks and projects that to that effect.
It's definitely going to be earmarked for roads and sidewalks.
That's what the meals and
unless it's
that's originally what it was intended for.
Unless it's amended in L&O. Okay, I have an idea. I'd like to see the biggest problem we have trying to convert a private way into a public road is there's no funds for it. So I would like to see that attached to the stabilization fund as well, that we could use some of that money to do that.
Well, converting a private road to a public road, the cost involved with that, does that offset the additional Chapter 90 money we get because now we have more roads in town?
Probably not, but we're still responsible for the road, even though it's a private way. We collect trash off of it. We plow it. We do some repairs with non-Chapter 90 money.
Right. One of the problems you have with some of these private ways is that they're so deficient in the layout, in the construction of the roadway, in the right-of-way issues. You almost can't conquer them because they were so long ago, and that you can't bring them up to a current standard. So you're stuck. You're providing services, and you can't. You know what it costs the costs are prohibitive to go ahead and do the takings, the layout, the design. All of these things to bring a private way up to that. It's staggering. You wouldn't believe what it is. I mean, just look at what it was on Paper Mill Road, and where we're still headed there. So some of that stuff is probably not going to get done, but it's a goal that you can look at.
But at least it would give a pool of money that if it was felt appropriate, it could be there.
Right.
That's the biggest problem right now. There's no money.
Yeah.
That's as soon as Mark and Dave will both say, we can't do it, there's no money. And as city councilors, we can't appropriate money.
Right.
We can't do an appropriation, so it has to come from the mayor's office. So.
Well, it's part of all working together.
Yeah, it's all the art of negotiation and what other people have in mind. And, this is a thought. It's stimulated thinking, and there's some other ideas. And we'll air it out in Elmo, and we'll let you know. We'll keep you posted.
Does anyone have any insight on what the next major road projects are in town?
Actually, the mayor put out a list. I don't have it with me, but there is a whole list, and if you'd like, I can post that somewhere for you.
That'd be awesome. I think a lot of us would be interested in seeing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you tag me in that, I'll make sure I pass it on too.
I'll do that when I get back. I've got that list. It's actually right on my desk. I just neglected to grab it this morning, but it's a projected list of projects and what he's got going. So
that'd be great information to get out. 9:55 in the morning. guess what?
What?
We made it to the end, I think.
We survived.
Wait, I have a shameless plug before we go.
Go for it.
Westfield Athenaeum this weekend, Saturday night, murder mystery with the Westfield Theater Group and Emma's, and all the proceeds go to the Westfield Athenaeum. Tickets are available at the circulation desk, and the doors will open at 6 o'clock.
Anything posted on their website regarding this?
I believe
It's been out there. We've had a couple of things.
Okay,
There's a Facebook event.
WestfieldAth.org, WestfieldAth.org. Ralph?
I have 2 plugs I'd like to do this weekend. If you have a desire to listen to some great music, the Westfield High School Band and Chorus is putting on their annual Pops concert. It's Friday night and Saturday. And the other thing is I'd like to congratulate former Councilor Jimmy Adams on his award last night from the Westfield Public Schools as being an outstanding contributor. I forget the exact name of the award, but well-deserved, and thanks, Jimmy, for all you do.
Yes.
You
Yes, very much.
really have been supportive. So.
And the one thing I would like to say, Saturday, Casey Bellamy,
true,
our hero coming back in. And, we're going to
Big
have...
shindig at the Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah, and I encourage everybody to go down there. This is a big event. This was a great thing for the city.
They were on the
Westfield.
Tonight Show last night.
I stayed up and watched them.
They were on the Tonight Show.
Yeah, but I encourage everybody to go down there and welcome her home.
All right. Councilors Beltrandi and Figy, I want to thank you for coming in this morning.
You're welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for asking.
All right. It was relatively painless. Hey, next week.
That depends on how you look at
it. Is that why you stand and don't sit?
Yeah, I, it's impossible for me to sit anymore. That's just the way life has been. Next week, live remote from the Technical Academy, Stefan Zaporowski, Superintendent of Schools, will be joining me. And Kathy, it's up to you whether or not you want to come down. I'll make sure.
I'm coming for the snacks.
Oh, okay. So Pete and I will talk about microphone placement before that morning.
Okay.
Because I'm going to need a lot of them.
Yes, I know.
Okay. 2 weeks from now, Chef John Slattery is back in his house. 3 weeks from now, making the list.
Oh, I always lose.
All right. And then 4 weeks from now, we're into April, I will have Amber Danahy and Peter Miller from City Hall in here. We're going to figure out exactly what the hell those folks do.
They do a lot more than you think.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
You know, Amber.
And that's why I'm having them here.
Yeah.
All right. That's all I have for you. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. If you happen to be on local cable channel 15, I'll catch you next week.
Bombadita, 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 bombadita,
Until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Keep smiling until then.
Who cares about the clouds when we're together? Just sing a song and think about sunny weather.
Happy trails to you. Till we meet again.